The Book of Psalms, found in the bog of Faddan More in North County Tipperary, joins a hugely significant body of Christian text that speak to us directly from ancient history and highlight Ireland's place in the history of Western civilization.
We knew Ireland was famous, the island of saints and scholars, in this golden age for producing manuscripts like Durrow and Kells. We knew we had this incredible civilization, but actual finds from that period, small single artifacts, which this is one, are very rare.
The illuminated manuscripts, written and now found in Ireland, represent one of the country's greatest contributions to the world. But the history of these books is inextricably linked with the history of Christianity, not only in Ireland, but throughout Europe.
You can't have Christianity without writing, because Christianity has its sacred texts, the Bible, and you need writing to convey what is the Word of God.
The Irish scribes began to read and then copy the great classic works of Western civilization. But beyond creating early libraries, the contribution of the Irish to the mere act of book writing was astounding.
Though we take it for granted, we think of Kells as a sort of iconic Irish type of manuscript. The Irish, in fact, are the people who invent that type of manuscript. That concept of layout and decoration and so on, is an Irish phenomenon. There's nothing like it in the late Roman world, in the early centuries of Christianity. There's almost no decoration in any early Gospel manuscripts in the early period.
I mean, the invention of the paragraph, the invention of a capital letter, the decoration of a capital letter, the introduction of punctuation, all of this, which is now part and parcel of world book production, started on this island.
While the Irish were having a golden period of learning, the rest of Europe was falling into the hands of fierce barbarians who had no time for books. The Irish, being on the edge of Europe, were largely unaffected by these upheavals and were soon leaving Ireland to find and preserve classic books ahead of their destruction. At the same time, they were bringing the message of Christianity and its love of literature back to a wounded European continent. The Irish would travel far and wide within Europe, creating great monasteries and libraries that still stand today as a testament to both their courage and their commitment.
The sense that Ireland has of itself in a cultural, historical way is conditioned to a large extent by the survivals from this period in metalwork and in manuscript art. Yet there are only about 10 or 12 other manuscripts from before this period. There's only one other Irish Psalter from before this period. We have lost a complete generation of gospel books in the period between the early 7th and 10th, 11th century.
There must have been almost an industrial production of Irish manuscripts, and therefore to have so few in Ireland is mesmerizing and tantalizing, and therefore to have something like this show up, not just in the context in which it shows up, which is miraculous in itself, but to show up and to demonstrate all the different features that we see in the Faddan More Psalter is absolutely extraordinary. You think of Patrick supposedly teaching people the alphabet and so on, but he must have used books. You couldn't have functioned without books. All the way through the monastic period, so-called, through the golden age of scribes and scholars, and that it's this seamless garment, if you like. It's the unbroken thread that takes you all the way back, with this slap bang in the middle that makes it so important.